Interesting theory to talk about. I'm uh I'm actually really impressed at some of this stuff. It's the first time I've ever really looked into what other people theorize about stuff. I love this. I love this particular theory. Whether it's right or wrong, it's a great story. She does it very well. It's by Sleuthy Goosey. You go check her out. I'm not going to get too into her theory. I thought it was good. Like I said, the report or the theory that she came up with was that she asserted that BK was the DoorDash guy, and he wasn't the murderer, but his DNA was on that little bag for the DoorDash, and when investigators picked up that bag, they may have used that same glove to pick up the sheath. Cross-contamination. I can't refute it, her theory, and it makes sense. But I have one issue, and it's not with her theory. In truth, and we may never know the truth, but because even if the killer or BK were the DoorDash drivers, authorities can never reveal that. It's a big stretch, right? Why I came up with this idea. Students, faculty, and deans, and so on, would all be in a very difficult position if they feared DoorDash deliveries. It would hurt Moscow, it would hurt the campus, and it would hurt DoorDash drivers across America. I find it to be a very important part of life now, especially with COVID and everything going through. I haven't heard of many instances like that. I think like IHOP, and I ordered like a stack of pancakes, and that was awesome. I didn't have to leave my room. Like, look at this freaking pancakes. It's awesome. So I know they don't have their personal drivers. Sometimes even Domino's doesn't have their personal drivers. They just go and use DoorDash. Now imagine if there was DoorDash murderers all across the world. Every 5 seconds we would be like, oh fuck. So it's kind of an important thing. It's definitely an important thing for a college kid who likes to drink and it's 4 in the morning and they want to just stuff their face with greasy food. That I get. But if we start identifying this, I'm sure the police and the town and the community have a way to shuffle the information around and basically put the student body at ease. Hey, we found our guy. Nope, wasn't DoorDash. It wasn't drugs. You're good to go, guys. I know that sounds a little far-fetched, but let me get into my theory a little bit here. Again, no problems with her theory. I just think that the cops will never say yes. The truth is that campus and surrounding areas hastily built a case with flimsy evidence to help the community return to beers and greasy foods rather than serve justice. You may not know this, but roughly, there's the other one. Okay, you may not know this, but roughly 50% of homicides go unsolved. And many agree that the first 48 hours is extremely important and crucial to finding the person who committed this act. Let's just say it's a hard job to get the right guy. I do appreciate that law enforcement does have to spend a lot of hours doing stuff like this, and it's not easy. They get it wrong once. They put one innocent guy in jail. It sucks, right? So, I mean, you got to give it up to him a little bit. But I don't know how much manipulation, coercion, whatever else goes on there. Now, obviously, like I said, you don't want to hurt the community because the community relies on the students. You don't want to hurt the students because the college relies on the students. What do the students want? They want drugs, party, and DoorDash. So you can't have that shit. You can't have any of that stuff as the problem. That stuff's got to be elsewhere. The process, though, during this type of a process, those who suffer are primarily the student body, the parents, the faculty, and the enforcement. But by acting quickly and being confident and affirmative, the population can return to normal and people feel safer. But it's only perspective. If you were 17-ish and had the chance to go to any college in America, what would be your top choices? Some may go with the academic powerhouses of Stanford or possibly Harvard. I would throw Yale in the mix as well, but I think that's reserved for future political influencers. Most people, however, might see a chance at freedom with little responsibility or accountability. They may choose a more party-like atmosphere. These colleges provide that opportunity. Tulane, #1 place to go to party and get a good degree. Highly rated private university in New Orleans. Locals say that it is one of the top schools engaged in community service. The motto, work hard, play hard, is the unofficial student logo. And as you see, I'll go through some of these, and that's the same logo throughout. So you got Florida State, right? That's one of the biggest party schools, like literally for like the last 40 years. I haven't heard much about Wisconsin, but I guess I can agree with them there. You got Howard. That's actually it's a pretty difficult school to get into. Alabama. You want to party? You go to Alabama. Oh, I wonder why Alabama and Georgia are in the top 10. I think it's because of their football programs. Syracuse. I didn't know they like to party. I don't even know what the fuck. Is that in France? USC, obviously. West Virginia. Don't they just live in hills up there? Penn State. I was about an hour from this school, and I can attest. This is, if you want to go party, this is pretty nice. I'm not saying this to anybody to go to these colleges. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is these schools offer the opportunity of having both a fun atmosphere and a good degree. And there's other colleges that it's just partying and there's no good degree. And so if you chose to go to any one of these schools, most likely academics and partying played a huge role in your decision. Back to the drawing board here. South Bend, Indiana is a good example. That's where Notre Dame is. Typically, you do have a good party-like atmosphere, and probably if you're Protestant, you're not going to this school. This is Touchdown Jesus right here. They love the Catholics here. And, this is a place you go party, experience your religion, have a good football program to cheer from or to root on or even play for. And it's a pretty cool atmosphere, right? You got to be Catholic, though, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. You might not fit in too well if you're Catholic, though, or not a Catholic. So, like I said, partying and academics plays a huge role in your decisions. Could you imagine that Tulane is in New Orleans and wouldn't have a strong party reputation? I mean, they're right next to New Orleans. Come on. Of course they're going to have a party reputation. And this leads me to my final reason for why most students choose a particular college. And that is because it has a good college town around it. And they symbiotically support each other. The following is a sliding scale that adjusts into gray areas sometimes, but the best ways to attract students: academics, parties, and college towns. With great professor and investment in learning, the academic portion should take care of itself. But will the college and town be compatible? See, BYU is a Mormon college that prohibits all alcohol use. And it even says it right here. You will abide by this honor code as a condition of studying at BYU. It prohibits the consumption of alcoholic beverages, tobacco, so on and so forth. Look at right down here. Can you drink off campus at BYU? Well, you should be able to, but as a condition of enrollment or employment, the university requires that all students and personnel abide by the Church Education System Honor Code, which includes a personal commitment to abstain both on and off campus. Both on and off campus from alcoholic beverages, tobacco, tea, coffee, vaping, other substances. So you want to go party. This might not be the school for you, right? Furthermore, if the town built a bar or a liquor store, it would offend the college itself. So therefore, that symbiosis doesn't occur. I'll even show you that right here. Provo is the town where BYU is at, and it is nearly 90% of the population. So you're not going to that college to go get down and party. If like that's your thought on this college, you've missed the boat by a long way. So there you go. That's a town being symbiotically interacting with its university. And they have a close bond because of that. Now, if we start building all these bars and parties and all this other shit in Provo, the student body might get a little offended. And also, the people who live in Provo would get a little bit offended. 90% Mormon. That's huge. Moving right along. MIT, I think it's here. There she goes. MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is a school located near Boston and Cambridge, two cities that, among other things, like to have a good time. Students who like this atmosphere would certainly like to party. There's a little thing down here. We have several mottos. Work hard, play harder, and sleep is for the weak. That's the student body. They want to party. You got to give them what they want. So, let's see. On a peripheral level, food delivery, Wi-Fi, cell coverage are some other big factors that the town is going to provide. A decent-sized population of about 10 to 25,000 enrollment would both bring money to the institution and not be overwhelming to a small town. Imagine having one delivery truck for 40,000 orders. It just wouldn't work. As you can see right here, the student body, about 12,000. A side note, a solid sports program will bring athletes and also stimulate the local town. Plus, it gives the student body something to cheer about. So that could also increase your population. Okay, so here's the stuff that matters to students, but ultimately remains hidden in society. First is underage drinking. No, of course not. It's not legal. Like, is underage drinking legal? No, of course not. It's not freaking legal. But is it heavily enforced? If you're 17 and you know you want to party, but the local town or even on-campus cops strictly enforce underage drinking, you might want to look at other places. So as an unspoken rule, most colleges and nearby towns are flexible with underage drinking. Why are they flexible? Because that's what the student wants. So in the realm of stereotypes, how much of Idaho University is it considered a party school? I don't even know. Our stereotype is the party school. While our students do party, it usually isn't on campus. I wonder why, because there's this off-campus sorority houses, right? Most parties happen across the state border, over at Wazoo, 8 miles away. It's from Wazoo. Who's that dude from Wazoo? What's their, are they Wildcats? Vandals and the Wildcats? Something like that. Who cares? Anyway, so, like I said, as an unspoken rule, they're flexible with this stuff. I guarantee that you will lose student enrollment if you're known as a party place, but strictly enforce noise laws, underage drinking, and my last part, drugs. So yes, the beautiful world of college. If you like drugs and the school and town are lenient with the students, then your enrolled population won't diminish. So if your students like drugs and drugs are there, you're not going to take them away because your population diminishes. Those guys are going to go find another place to go. There's plenty of drugs out there. So somehow the town, the community, the school, the cops, the people get together to say, okay, we can allow just a little bit of this. We don't want it to run rampant, everybody, some horrible event, but they kind of just pass over some of it. Like, oh, it's a warning, or hey, I've seen you before. It's very light, even though they know almost everybody's doing something wrong. And so if you put a lot of restrictions on that, even at Idaho, you take away partying in Idaho, you take away drinking, drugs, because of this last incident, this horrible murder, we want to take away all problems at Idaho, you're going to be losing money. The town will lose money, and the student population will drop. Idaho will therefore become less of a good school in that respect. And the professors, so on and so forth, you're not going to get the population. It's going to hurt the town. So they allow some of this stuff. It's hard to imagine adults would cheat, but they do. Yes, the beautiful world of being in college. And You're a druggie, your population won't diminish, and everyone is happy. Everybody gets to do their thing. But what if a DoorDash driver brutally murdered people as they answered the door? In my opinion, this can never be brought to surface. It's almost like saying you're shutting down all the bars, because if you shut down DoorDash, or if people are a little afraid of having a murderer come to their place, obviously parents aren't going to want you to go to that school. Hey, DoorDash people kill people here. That wouldn't be a good thing. Or I think it's a big deal to the kids. I think they obviously want to drink, and not hop in a car and go drive to get food, but have it DoorDash delivered to them. That would be the safest. But now it's the worst, because if it's a DoorDash driver, he killed him. Now let's say, how could they keep this stuff quiet? How could they say he wasn't the DoorDash driver? Well, if there's no record of it, he's not going to be able to prove it to himself. And maybe he used that burner phone for all his DoorDash deliveries. Admitting to that burner phone may be incriminating to him on other levels, like dealing drugs. So it might be something like he is the DoorDash driver, but he can't show him his DoorDash driver phone, which has all the information on it about DoorDash, because it's probably got some information about drugs on it as well. I highly believe, I just said that 3 times, and I highly believe that at night, this type of activity is not abnormal to order food. But I would also go this far. It's not all that abnormal to deliver food and drugs. And I think that's where the DoorDash guy really makes his money. Bringing a couple of chicken parms to some college student is not going to bring you the dough you need. So what are you going to do about that? You probably start being a delivery guy for drugs. So they know, hey, call up DoorDash, or not DoorDash, but hey, Sonic or whatever. Hey, dude, I want an order. Okay, we'll go through DoorDash. This guy is sitting around at 2 in the morning going, I can't wait to get a call because I'm going to make money. And I know who's it's going to be. It's this guy, and they always want some form of drug, so I deliver it with me as a DoorDash guy. That would be my opinion. I would say it's much highly likely, more likely, that a DoorDash driver delivers food and drugs as opposed to a DoorDash driver delivers murder. You know what I'm saying? So all that stuff starts to condense into one. You want your drugs, right? You want your DoorDash food, and now you can't get it because you shut down DoorDash because that guy killed people. I don't think they can do that. I think that it will ruin this. Like I said, there's a party atmosphere here. You can't just be like, oh, we're Mormons now. That won't work. So here's the 2 people that here's another thing about nearby towns. A boring city in America is not something you're going to want to create if you want a lot of college students to come to that town. Look at some of the things. Look, you got Lubbock, Chesapeake, Plano, Mesa, Arizona. I mean, here's the reasons. No nightlife, no live music, parks outdoors, minimal fast food, percentage of young residents, population density, all that stuff. And it basically came out that you suck. Ugh. Now, do you think, if you're an older college student who isn't into art, who is living on fast food and cheap drinks, Lubbock might be good for you? So you know what I'm saying with this stuff now. You cannot retain the population if your town turns into Boringville. Arresting people for drinking, arresting people for underage drinking, arresting people for drugs, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not going to be as much fun. I just kind of, well, I don't know if it proved it, but yeah. Then I want to go to this one. And so if you really, really don't like partying, here is a good look at the types of places you might want to go to. I always knew the United States Military Academy had minimal parties, but there's some stuff that goes on there that it's not weird or bad. There's some fun to what you do there too. I can't remember what SUNY stands for. New York. I don't remember what SUNY stands for. Anyway, look, Berea, Kentucky. There you go. I bet that's a good place to go if you want that. Ebola University in La Mirada, California. Indiana, Northwest in Gary, Indiana. Oh no, Lynchburg. And then Grove City College. I don't know. Let's see. No fake IDs at cake stands. Instead, they're working on better grades and ice cream socials. These are the worst party schools. So yeah, like I said, people aren't going out and like you wouldn't see a large population here of partiers, obviously. So we're already opening this partying door. You know, there's something important there. So not long after the stabbings, there was a few run-ins with this guy this girl Emma and Demetrius. But in my opinion, local law enforcement and campus knew who they were, no doubt. Before the murders, they knew these people. They may not have shaken hands, they may not have done a jig, they may not drink a beer together, but they knew them. Why? Why did they let them stay? Why would they let them operate with no dispute? Because the college kids want them. The college kids want that shit. So you want to be informed. You want to know what's going on in your realm, especially if you're like a dean or a police. You know, you want to know what's going on. But you also realize if I screw with this dynamic too much, people might go away. People might leave. There's no more drugs, no more alcohol, no more nothing. Hey, I don't know, what are we going to do? We can't even cheer for the football team. It sucks. What are we going to do to have fun? Hey, let's play cards or some shit like we're in prison. So, in my opinion, you have the information all along. You know these guys. You know what they do. You kind of probably even know who they're selling to. They're probably just like, hey, as long as it stays quiet in this little area, no overdoses and no murders. And, hey, don't bring heat into the college because that's going to screw up this whole thing. And that's the way a lot of colleges are, believe it or not. I mean, they know that there's drugs there. There's no way they can't know that. And they're going to figure out who it is eventually if they don't know and they want to come down hard, they're going to figure that shit out. But they don't come down hard because they allow a little bit of it. So it's kind of like one of those, it's like you're in a crib, like a baby crib. You can't jump out, but you're not going to get hurt. You can drink your bottle in there and shit. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? So like allowing this to happen, because this is what college kids want, it means that they will stick around and still consume local businesses. They'll go to local restaurants. Money will be brought in. So it's good for the town. You get a bunch of college kids. I don't know how many. I'm gonna make it really small. Let's say 50% of college students have some type of a drug habit, whether that be alcohol or some other form of drugs. Let's just say that. Hey, it might be high, it might be low. I don't know. But you pull these guys out, you're going to lose 50% of your college population. And therefore, the town gets screwed over too because all that money's not coming in. It can make a difference. So you got to realize that some of this is allowed, some even underage drinking. Some of it's hey, don't do that again. But some of this is allowed. And with our nation going the way it is, you got Oregon, who basically, I guess, anything goes. You got Colorado starting the whole pot thing, and I want to say we're well over half of the states agree with either recreational or medical. So I mean, they're kind of getting down that path anyway. And when that's kind of legal, how can you really just be like a stickler at college and say, no, you can't do that stuff? I don't think the college kid's going to want to stick around. He's going to go someplace that has partying. Did I go through the part? I think I missed. No, I didn't miss. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. There she is. Okay, so yeah, we did go over this. Well, it's called the party school. It doesn't usually happen on campus, 8 miles away at Washington State. So there you go. They're up there in the mix. You know what I'm saying? #1 party schools in each state. Well, Idaho got, I don't know, I guess 7th. National party rank, 145. 74% acceptance rate. That's pretty high. So it's not like it's right in the middle. It's got academics, it's got population, it's got the town, it's got drugs, it's got drinking, but it's all sort of nebulized in the middle. Look at some of these other populations. We just said that it was 11,000, right? I think I threw that one away. Most the top colleges have like 75,000 people. That's so overwhelming. That's crazy. And they're usually not near boring cities. They're usually in more hustling and bustling cities. But I'll go back to these two real fast because this is the crux of my opinion. And let's see what we have here. So you retain your population by allowing the stuff to go. Bailey and Robinson were arrested on Tuesday, March 24th as part of a Joint Narcotics Enforcement Team investigation into the overdose death of 22-year-old man from Centralia, or in Centralia. So the dude OD'd on these guys' drugs, and in the same day, they had these guys in custody. You have a guy who ODs, and the same day, imagine how many people are out there in general. They knew these people. They knew it was maybe not them who killed the person, but they knew them as drug dealers. It wasn't a big step. They knew this already. They let them operate. They kind of gave them a leash to hang themselves on. They allowed it to operate. But once that death comes in, once that suicide, or not suicide, once that bad pill comes in, they start making moves. Now, this makes it seem like they've been doing this investigation for a long time. I don't know how hardcore the investigation was, but this is amazing. On the same day that dude died, these two people get picked up, who, in my opinion, are the main drug dealers in the area. They have some type of regional control, and I'm not going to put you down for that or put you up for that. That's just my opinion. I mean, I think people know them, and then that makes the Moscow people feel better about it. You know, hey, we know our drug dealer. He's a good guy, you know. I think that's a better thing to have than just random people coming in and out, real shady people. You want to know the one guy. You want to know that, and that always makes sense. She was around a lot, I think, interacting with a lot of the college students. She helped sell, I'm sure. But again, I'm not upset about drugs. That doesn't bother me as much as the murder does. I'm thinking murder is never allowable on a college campus, but drugs, I think it is. I think she got picked up for a DUI too, and they stayed it or something. I don't know exactly what they gave her. Probably just a deferment or something like that. The same day the guy ODs, the dead guy can't talk. So who did? Like, who was like, hey, I know where I got these drugs from. No, he was dead. He can't say anything. So who did say something? I don't know. And who knew about these two drug dealers? Probably the region drug dealers. And as campus and local authorities have been investigating the murders of the university, I'm sure their name came up a few times, but still no arrest. This happened all the way November, December, January, February. So about 5 months after that. And I'm thinking this is kind of an ongoing thing. This is not something that's new. But once you introduce murder into the situation, you have to start looking all over everything, because somebody else is going to come down on you too and start looking at everything. And they're going to start pointing fingers. Hey, you're not making this campus safe enough. Hey, you're not doing this the right way. And then it turns into Mormon. You can't even breathe. You can't vape. You're not allowed to breathe. Imagine if you were in a room where there's a bunch of pot smoke. Would you be allowed to breathe if you were a Mormon? I don't know. That's just a thought, right? Still, and they didn't arrest him, even though they knew these people a long time ago. And the overdose, they when the person overdoses. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this may be deeper than any of us can imagine, because this kid was released from a hospital. Which maybe there he talked. I'm not sure. Maybe there he talked. I'm not sure. But that same day he was released. He was good enough, healthy enough to be released. So he didn't die. And then he makes it back to his friend's house, and then he dies. What? He's like, oh, he just stopped breathing. We were just hanging out, and he stopped. How in the heck did that happen? I've never heard of somebody almost dying from a drug overdose, being revived, and the hospital being like, have a nice day, and then he dies 5 minutes later. That's crazy to me. This might be deeper is what I'm saying. This could be a situation where maybe this needed to be the catalyst to open things up. So like I said, the OD itself allowed police to then go question and investigate even further. And I think It was mostly in connection with the murders, but they didn't say that. So they weren't specifically stating, "Hey, we want to know about the murders." They were specifically stating, "Oh, this is an OD, and we want to make sure, we're protecting all the people. So tell us about the drug deals. Have you ever hurt anybody? Oh, you hurt people. Have you ever used a knife? Like, do you know people that are kind of violent? Do you have a henchman, something like that?" So that's the reality. They're always going to trick you, and they're allowed to. They're always going to do that, but they also allowed you to do it for a while, as long as everything stayed at normal levels. And when you have murders and you have ODs, they can't let that happen. They have to then go in. And see, the two co-defendants were accused of delivering cocaine to the man who was visiting from the University of Idaho in Moscow shortly before he overdosed at a party in Seattle on the night of March 20th. He didn't die until the 21st. The specific reasons for asking this case to be dismissed were not clarified in public court documents. A dude dies from a drug from these guys, and they get released. Now, the next part of the story. What really happened? Like I said, they're pretty lenient with these people, but not this lenient. March 22nd was one of the largest drug takedowns in the Northwest ever. And this is basically what happened. One day after 2 days after a person overdoses, one day after they pick these two drug dealers up, now they're doing this. A drug ring tied to some prison gang has federal arrests. And what day was that? Oh, shit. March 22nd, 2023. The coordinated takedown involving 10 SWAT teams and more than 350 law enforcement officers. Do you think these guys... I lost my page. Do you think Demetrius, man, and his little accomplice, do you think they were just sitting there going, "Well, I don't know where drugs come from. They must come from storks. They fly over us and they just drop the drugs. That's how it comes to us." They wanted to know more about the drug scene as well. So, my opinion, you got released because you snitched. Maybe. People aren't going to be happy about that. But, so here it is. Literally 2 days after these drug dealers' arrest, that was in connection with a death and a pill, and they get released. They actually spent about 30 days in jail. I think they were trying to analyze the situation a little bit better. But they had enough information to go take down these guys on March 22nd. You have an OD, an arrest, and now this giant takedown in 3 days? That seems unlikely. I mean, somebody slipped somebody something so that kid would die, right? And then they could go pick you guys up and then get the further information on what else is going on. Look at this. Washington. More than 1.9 million doses of fentanyl, 350 pounds or 230 pounds of methamphetamines, 225 guns. Wow. 27 people indicted. I guess it says 48 firearms seized. Wednesday, they took another 177. Okay, the Aryan prison gang. Whatever. It's stupid. Here's all the names. $330,000 in cash. Some 18 locations, Washington and Arizona. There's no way this didn't correspond to the death. That guy got killed that night by law enforcement, I think. They were like, "Hey, we need to have a death out here, so let's give this guy something horrible." And they had their death, and now they can go in. I don't know. Seems like the flood... the dam broke and the flood was open, so they just poured right in. Oh, Concho, no way. that's right near. Oh, shit, that's bad. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know any of these people. I've never met them. I don't do drugs like this. That's nice to look at, though. Imagine having all that shit. AK, no, not AK, M4, M60 shotgun, couple rifle, collapse with butt stock. There was another seizure of 830,000 fentanyl pills. Enough fentanyl to kill the population 10 times over. I mean, something crazy. So you have FBI Phoenix, DEA, U.S. Marshals, ATF, tribal police, Puyallup, and Vancouver. Wow, that's big. That's big. Wow, that is really big. Now, if they have this many agents on this, and they've been doing this investigation for long enough, I believe that they could very easily set something up in order to take down the rest. It could go a different way. I don't know, but it sounds so circumstantial. Like, dude dies. I bet you that's the first time somebody died from one of these guys' pills. I don't know. Demetrius would know, but I don't think they're handing out pills to kill people. He's a drug dealer and a businessman. He's not trying to kill no one. So here we go. We'll move along to the next part, but I think that's an interesting one, where the day basically following this arrest or the death of this student, they already have these two, almost as if they knew who they were and where they were and everything about them. And then I think they might have gotten more information, which helped take down the rest of the other people, or at least some more clear information. And that's why they got released. Not because just some random reason. Let's see. Specific reasons for asking the court to be dismissed were not clarified in the public court documents. That means you snitched. What if... Okay, so here's my last point on this. What if DoorDash driver did a horrible act of murdering some of the students? Would you freely use DoorDash, or would you put it on hold for a little while? Would you be on edge for a little while, right? Would you leave to go to a safer college? After the Idaho 4 murders, the university added security and enforced applicable laws, like drugs and drinking. Students began to scram because of the horrible stabbings, and once investigations started, almost everything got uncomfortable, and it restricted the students' freedom. Not good for the town or the university. They want their fun back, and if they can get it at another college, they will. I think that's about it. I think that's about all I can say on this one. I'm sure there's a lot of wrong stuff in there. I'm sure I messed up all kinds of stuff, but the way I'm looking at it is exactly that way. Look at this. You got 48 hours to do something. You got 48 hours to get this Coburg kid, and you want your town to feel safe again. You want the students to come back. So you hastily put this thing together. I don't know. I don't even know why they would want to do it that way, but it's perhaps there's something more to the whole thing. Like I said, those two arrests with the drugs was very wild. To have one of the largest drug busts ever, and to know that this campus was fairly open to partying. I think bad stuff went down, and who knows and who it was. I really don't know. I would hope that it would be clearer by now. But what are we, 6 months out? We don't have a whole bunch of information. They obviously arrested the two drug dealers, and maybe they didn't get enough out of them. Maybe they knew Brian. Maybe he bought from them. Maybe he was a dealer for them, and he brought him into the equation. When they asked about it, said no, he was okay. He didn't seem like he murdered anybody. But maybe he says something different. I don't know. Again, when it comes to drugs and children, I'm not shitty about that. I mean, children is one thing, but college students. When it comes to drugs and college students, I'm not shitty about that. Underage drinking, I'm not shitty about that. People choose certain colleges for that particular reason, and towns make money from it. The school has better enrollment. People are happy. They'll put it online about how much they love this school. But if you're going to BYU and you're expecting to party, you're not going to say, I'm having a good time, you know? Anyway. I think this whole thing, I shouldn't have even opened the book on this one. This Pandora box, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Watch it be something simple, like the butler with a candlestick in the kitchen with a lot of Coke. Anything else? That's all I got. It was definitely the butler in the kitchen with the candlestick. Well, all right. Have a blessed evening, morning, whatever it is. Neck of the woods.